Yeah, I'm a fan of the energy, and it's my second favorite. And whatever the DJ is. So they were vendors and sponsors at the last rock climbing event that I did. And we had
really?
The guy come from Brooklyn Brewery.
How'd you get the Brooklyn Brewery CEO?
It took about 3 weeks. But we kind of like 2.5 months out, so it was he was a really cool guy. He was going to start coming over it now. He lives on the block. So.
Oh, really?
He does. He lives in Greenwich. He lives in like a place that's now worth, he said, over 60 times what we paid for.
That's wild.
Good for him.
When he started Brooklyn Brewery, 90s?
89. It was a cool story.
So the place was a shithole before then.
He was like a foreign correspondent, and he was reporting on wars and terrorist activity in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife kind of gave him like name and said, come home and don't. So he came home, their kids, their other kids. Got both a bird. Really cool guy. Really crazy story about him working with mob and stuff like that. Like them trying to squeeze him out for some money.
Really?
Yeah. It was fun. Plus his beer is delicious. I still have a few extra cases.
Oh, his beer is the best.
In my apartment.
You guys doing a little normalization over here?
What?
Channel, site, prize, Google.
Yeah. That's I don't know what project we have coming up.
You guys have a pretty serious bathroom over there.
That one has a shower.
Yeah, it's the full bath, locker room, keg around the corner. Kitchen.
That's all you need, right?
I would never leave. Maybe I'll just stay.
Mm-hmm.
That was the goal.
Move
Get
out.
you never to leave here.
Move out of my apartment.
Basically.
I don't even move out. I just never go back. How about I haven't paid gas since I moved in.
I know. You told me you gotta get gas shut up.
I just hashed it out today with them. So like.
Okay, hold on.
Backtrack to July 2013. I moved into an apartment with 4 other guys. We never set up a National Grid account. We continue to live there. And then I would say maybe a month ago, we get a notice from National Grid. I would notice that somebody at your address has been using gas, blah, blah, blah. You need to set up an account, or you need to pay your bill. Meanwhile, that was the only communication we'd ever gotten.
Right.
So I've been like going back and forth with them. Basically what ended up happening was they told me I needed to email them my lease and forms of ID. So I did that, hear nothing for over a week. Talk to my landlord. He tells me they tried to shut our gas off. I was like, well, we need to set up an account. And they're like, okay, well, do you know the service address? And I was like, what do you mean the service address? So our apartment has a mailing address and a service address.
Yep.
So I had to tell the National Grid people our service address. And then they shut our gas off, still off. And I called them today. And I was like, yeah, like, I just moved in July 2014. Like, I'm not sure what happened with the account. We thought we were paying it through Con Ed. Turns out we weren't because somebody from you guys tried to turn us off. So I'm just trying to get this figured out. So basically, we got a free year of gas, and then like the rest of our bills, $150 for 6 months.
That's awesome.
That's a good group.
I thought so. But I was just so shocked that it took them so long to figure out our address was using gas.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I just hope like they don't follow up with management. Like, oh, who was the tenant before this tenant?
Yeah, that might screw you guys. That's better than my house, the junior lacrosse guys, when I had my electricity turned off first floor.
Downstairs.
We had extension cord going from the second floor to the first. That's how I got electricity. So like we would walk in at night and it was pitch black. We didn't have a key to any of the doors, so we left the front door locked and the back open. And then we had mice running around and no heat. We had no heat either. Just working off space heaters. It was pretty.
Isn't no heat illegal?
No, I don't. Not in
I'm
Baltimore.
pretty sure as a landlord, you have to provide your tenants.
No, because we almost
with
screwed
heat
our
and
pipes.
central
We almost
air.
had water in our pipes that froze completely.
Yeah,
But I'm pretty sure like it's a law.
I mean,
Like, a land, like when we were living in the house senior year, and our gas or whatever our heat didn't work.
we took my landlord to court over that. I forget what it's called.
It's like negligence or something, right?
There's like a basic set of rights that you get as a tenant. I forget what it's called.
Well, we were cheating the system senior year anyway because we had more than 4 unrelated persons living in one building. So.
Yeah, well, our landlord took all my roommates to court before I got back from abroad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like all four, 1-1. The
But
rest
didn't you guys win that?
Some did, some didn't. Yeah, it was their property manager just kept forgetting to come to actually pick up the checks.
We're live.
Yeah, we've been live.
Hey, gang. All right.
No.
0 viewers. To those of you watching the...
Alex, how much people appreciated you when I sent out emails. You got literally no one.
How many openings do you get on that?
We usually have about 35. Yeah, for both that and the reminder. We had about 5 people on Eventbrite, and
Are you
additional
doing
people.
Are you still doing like the Gmail invites and stuff?
Yeah, now it's all MailChimp, and I'm launching the website. But
Wait, here's a good question. Do you do like HTML emails?
yeah,
What's a good like free?
I vote this guy up.
What's a good like free template?
I now know how to do that on my own. Just use MailChimp.
Yeah, thanks. Just wake me up at 8 in the morning on a Saturday. You know how hungover I was still drunk from last night.
That was such a big save.
He performs better when he's drunk.
No, that was a major save. Use MailChimp.
MailChimp?
Litmus also has a new, like, slightly more advanced.
Because I was trying to just find like I said, like free templates and stuff like that.
MailChimp is only people under like 2,000 subscribers.
Which is
You have to use MailChimp to send it. Like you have to
do it
import
through
your
line.
contacts.
Yeah.
they do it. It's
Well,
probably
that's
the
how it's
best
free, right?
platform out there.
No, they don't do anything with those contacts. They can't spam them. If they spam them, they basically get shut down by the internet police. I don't even know who it is, but like, but
Well, it's just that you
seriously,
lose your credibility. You lose all your.
Well, there's credibility, but also if you're adding people to, so I forget whatever the law is, right? Like whatever the spamming law is.
Mm-hmm.
If you start violating that, they'll shut down that IP as a sender. So if MailChimp's IP continually gets reports of abuse,
Right.
then it fucks up their service.
Wouldn't they be selling that data though? Like, okay, user so and so.
They'll sell results on like what's going on. Like, so if you take a look, I'll show you. I have MailChimp up right now.
Okay.
So if you take a look right here, this is a recent campaign. So if you take a look at this campaign, so 91 people on the list, 49 opens, 16 clicks, 1 person unsubscribed. So you have unique clicks, you have total clicks.
You can look at the asshole that unsubscribed, which I
I
always do.
always do too.
And I like look at that person totally differently.
I know, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
It was Rick James.
let me show you.
I had Amy Frostetta once do that for the campus taps. I was like, Amy, really?
You
lived on the same floor with me. Yeah.
So like, look, this is my mailing list that I use for Startup Rock Money. There's like 600.
Okay.
Like 400 people almost. So you can see my open rate over every campaign. You can see my click rate below.
That's your startup?
It's not a startup. It's just an event.
Or
that I
just
run.
an event? Okay.
So you can see where I stand versus the average and stuff like that, and you can set it up however you want. So that,
Yeah, because like the florist guy that I work for, I told him that I'm like kind of good with computers, so he thinks that like I know everything. He's like, oh, you go to
That's really simple. You just do drag and drop with
Yeah,
it.
no,
It's
I
all
mean,
drag and
I was
drop, yeah,
I was
exactly.
doing a template today, and like it keeps. I was trying to like prompt you to like pay for shit. And I was just like,
If you're just doing like a plain text, yeah, MailChimp's good. I used with Yesterday too, just some numbers and stuff like that.
That's where you can do the open rate. You can also see who opened your emails right through Plain.
you can see that in MailChimp.
But it's like you get like a notification. Right?
You get a notification.
Oh.
It's usually it's like for salespeople a lot.
Yeah, I actually There's a couple things that do that. I have a plugin for the company I'm working with right now. Does something similar to it. The problem is I haven't seen anyone who can actually keep a log of those. Does Yesware do that? Does it keep a log of like who's open for?
If you have like a plugin, like that, like you can like literally call it, like you get notifications, call it.
It's so creepy.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do like the run wall, but I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't seem like that, right? You're getting a response that should be able to be tracked.
Do you have Brett's?
I just texted him.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to start if they're late or whatever, but
Well, like, see if you get a response. I know he's coming with our friend JP and his brother.
I don't know. What do you got going on?
Nothing right now. They're like schedule a couple of interviews and job stuff, but
How do you like the iPhone 6? Is that a charging case or no?
no, it's just a big ass phone.
Is it a plus?
Yeah, it's I read a lot on my phone, so it's nice.
So does that replace your tablet?
I use my tablet exclusively for beating up.
No viewers. Yeah, no, I just like I don't really use my tablet anymore at all.
I've been thinking about the Note Edge. Yeah,
It's like Samsung or something.
yeah. So it's basically like the Galaxy Note, but like the side of it here is curved glass with a LCD screen on it that has like icons that you can shortcut click into.
Samsung's like probably might be a better phone, but like it just feels like it's cheap in your hand.
I will say
Because
I
it's got
like
like plastic back.
I hate
Yeah,
the style.
plastic back is.
I hate the feel of the new
iPhones.
iPhone. I hate the feel of this. I really despise it.
I want a Samsung.
I like the performance of it. The phone itself I find rather enjoyable. But I don't
I
understand.
really hate it.
What bothers
Just
me is
dust
this.
bring it.
I always
This
get thrown
bothers
off
the
when you
hell out of me.
text me and it goes blue. I was
You
like,
can't
oh
see
shit.
that.
Whoa, wait!
It's just like these like
It was
stupid
like what
little
a trader
plastic
he
things
used to always
that
talk shit.
You don't have
No,
No, because I broke my phone. And I've been using this since because I haven't bought one. For sure, you can buy it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I haven't had
Nice
a
on-
cover on my phone since like 2011.
This one also.
Do you keep that in your front pocket or your back pocket?
I didn't do this year, maybe on
What's that?
Oh, like screws.
So the front of it doesn't break? Yeah. I had the battery pack for the 5S for a period of time. It's helpful. But I mean ultimately I just kinda realized no matter where I want to get it broken from.
Not at Epstein's.
Now it's underwater.
Yeah.
Are they not gonna renovate it anymore?
It's November. That's when they said they're gonna
Yeah.
finally gut it.
Epstein's last call my ass.
Yeah, but they've been saying this for like a year and a half. But this has been like the most serious claims that they've had in a while.
Dude probably just can't afford to do it because he's got to pay off kids to not lose their bomber jackets.
On New Year's Eve, Charlie's friend, friend of a friend,
There you go.
came and he lost his bomber jacket, and he came back the next day with a cop, like
What?
ready to press charges because he lost his jacket.
He was saying that the coat was like worth like $3,000 or something.
Don't be an asshole, get shit faced with New Year's Eve.
I know, right?
Well,
It's
no,
New Year's
he
Eve,
coat
yeah.
checked it, and he
There
went
is
to-
no coat check. It was their
well,
bar
they
back.
gave us tickets, so like
Then everyone.
I
was-
understand why he
That's-
was mad, but he didn't need to be such a fucking loser.
Well, the thing is, it was just like, what do you expect? It's free. It's a free coat check, and everyone just walking back there and just grabbing things. Like
Yeah.
the kid couldn't do much. But safe to say, he eventually found it.
Yeah.
Eventually got it. Someone took it by accident.
Must have tried.
But he called the cops twice on the bar and was threatening to.
Well, the
press
dumbest,
charges.
like the worst part of it was like, my friend from high school was visiting me, and then his friend from college met up with us for New Year's. So like we all went out had a great night, whatever. Left, back to my apartment because neither of them live in the city. And then the next morning, they wake up and they go to brunch at Epstein's. That was like the last thing I knew they were doing. It was like, okay, like I'm not trying to get wasted during the middle of the day. Like you guys go have time. I have to work tomorrow. Blah blah blah. And then I get a text from Connor. He's like, "Yo, tell your friend to stop fucking calling the cops on Epstein's." I just like, dude, like this is the first I'm hearing of this. Last I knew, they're just going for brunch.
That's how everyone says it starts out. We're just going for brunch and then it ends up calling the cops on them.
Brunch, and then you call the cops.
Otherwise,
All right, man. What
Let's
do
do
you do?
we're getting it to you. It's fine. Well, it's going to YouTube anyway. Get some views.
Is it?
You're on the spot. Maybe we got like 36. It's your shining moment. It's your interview.
Do you wanna do it in like a Q&A form, or do you wanna?
Yeah, well, let's start out. I guess. What is Frava?
So Frava was the first naturally caffeinated beverage, basically a combination of fruit juice and natural caffeine from the green coffee bean.
Mhm.
Started by a buddy of mine, a couple years older than me, at Colgate University.
And then you got involved.
Yes. So I was the first employee. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do coming out of school, but kind of had that entrepreneurial itch. Didn't necessarily have the wherewithal or the financial means to execute an idea of my own. So I at least imagined my skill set was complementary to Evan's. I was willing to work for free for a period of time. Started off doing biz dev and eventually became the chief marketing officer.
Right on. So, and then with funding, it started up at Colgate. And it was funding. Did that come during the time there, or was it?
Yeah. So shortly, I guess the company was funded by the time I joined. Raised pretty insignificant round, about $500,000 in cash, and another $500,000 or more in infrastructure that our angel investor was able to provide through his existing business, basically providing us with back end office support, accounting, receptionist, full-time warehouse, trucks that we could wrap, and then all the print material anybody could ever want, which we would in turn be able to provide to retailers and distributors and partners.
Cool. So pretty lucrative. How'd you guys get in touch with this angel investor? That seems like a lot to put up front for a college startup.
So the best way to describe that first round and something that's as big of a long shot, 99% of beverage companies fail. And your chances for success before you get to $12 million is close to zero. So they call it a friends, families, and fools round. And Evan had met an entrepreneur, kind of a print mogul, if you will, at a graduation party of all places. And the guy fell in love with the concept and the vision, and he believed that all the infrastructure he had and some of his experience building his own company would be a tremendous value add to an aspiring entrepreneur. Again.
So you graduated what in 2000?
I graduated in 2012, and Evan, who's a founder, graduated in 2000.
Cool. Where'd you go to school?
Colgate. But I do live with a great.
Okay. So what's the story of the company itself, right? So like you guys, your buddies at a graduation party, tells the story. I guess he's been working on a drink before. So like, what's the whole story of the company?
Yeah. So Evan and a couple other friends were studying for finals, and like every other college student, they were consuming way more caffeine than they should be. But it was too hot for coffee, and as people were starting to become aware, they were well aware that the energy drinks were artificial. They drank juice every day as college athletes. So it's kind of one of those entrepreneurial quintessential aha moments where, fruit, Java, and the idea of Frava was born.
So what's been like the story of it since then?
So first year was really tough. Did about a little over $100,000 worth of business. Really, bootstrap things. We're running around, primarily Metro New York. The second year was when we tried to, really take it to the next level. And we did things like fundraise. We hired. We expanded into 8 states. Landed some of the largest retailers in the country. And then this January, actually winding the business down.
What happened?
Basically spread ourselves too thin. Didn't listen to some of the best advice we had. A number of problems with corporate structure. Some other stuff that I can get into. But eventually didn't raise the funds we needed to maintain the type of growth that we had. So it was an interesting story. We grew at a 5 times clip, but cash is king and you don't have it.
You don't have it.
You don't have it.
Did you guys try anything like merchant financing or anything like that, like to try to just get extra capital, or I guess a second round of fundraising?
So we did roadshow sorts on both coasts and got pretty good reception. There were some beverage, successful beverage guys that had climbed deckers before. There were some venture funds and even some PE funds that wanted to make an investment. The problem was our existing corporate structure didn't have a pool for, an equity pool for future employees. And when the LLC was first established, over 70% of the company was in the hands of non-working individuals. So from the get-go, it was one of those situations where you don't know what you don't know, and if you have people that don't know what they don't know, they can do a lot more harm than they might, otherwise be thinking.
So is that a bunch of people who just left the company?
So it was 2 of the co-founders that had left before the launch, and then it was the investment group, which had 50% of the company. And really, what we heard a lot of was, we like you guys as people, we like the company and the direction that you guys can take it, but there's too much dead weight. So what they were encouraging us to do was basically start from scratch and take whatever leave the intellectual property behind,
sell that,
take our experiences and start a new venture that they'd be willing to invest in, but having some semblance of a moral compass that didn't really feel right, kind of burning other people that did invest in us both time and monetarily. So it was maybe have a go with it a couple of years from now, but at this point it's shutting it down.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. What were we actually?
Go for it.
No.
Go for it.
There you go.
Go for it.
Okay. So what were we actually doing?
So titles at startups, as you guys hopefully know, mean nothing. On paper, I was the chief marketing officer, but I was also the chief sampling officer, doing demos at your neighborhood deli bodega. I was, doing social media, all platforms. I was lead recruiter. I was, finding events and strategic partnerships, companies like whether it's Living Social or PGA Tour.
Did you guys do a Living
scale.
Social deal?
No, we never did. I just felt like it kind of cheap on the brand.
Oh, it's so expensive too.
Yeah, so it just wasn't.
They're not good for you.
And shipping beverages, anything that is watery, it's heavy, so it's expensive. So e-commerce is never a big thing with beverage. It's like 3% max of the revenue given year. But so finding strategic partners, you had to have events, just ways to identify, and engage your target demographic and whatever market we were in, active, educated, relatively health conscious millennials, 16 to 30, we'll say. So just finding unique ways to piggyback off of their brand equity. So a lot on the marketing side, but then there's everything on the sales side as well. Whether it's landing your neighborhood deli bodega, working with distributors to make sure that they understood the product and their sales guys were good, training and supporting our staff, and then also pitching to large retailers and distributors. So.
So what was, I mean, how did the strategy, kind of business strategy start out? What was the ideal outlook? You guys were going to start within a certain region, say, I guess, New York area, since that's where everyone is. And then what was kind of like the next approach? Were you guys going to start building around that New England area, or?
Yeah, so conventional wisdom is there's two places to really build a beverage market, and sophisticated investors, well, it's terrific if you have victories in places other than New York or LA. They want to see the reaction you get and how well you're able to penetrate New York or LA. So being that we're all based in New York, we decided to cut our teeth in the New York market, which is one of the two most difficult markets to crack in the country. The best advice we ever got was from the top CPG firm in the country. And one of our advisors there stressed inch wide, mile deep. So basically, you don't leave New York Metro until you are king and you are the best distributor. And then, that's the time when you look into New England, into South Florida, maybe even Austin, Texas, which is a great kind of innovative beverage market or incubator. And then move to the West Coast, and then bring it all together in the Midwest. So that was the mindset for first year, and all is well and good. But when you're undercapitalized, you need to raise revenue, whether you're going to do the next raise or you just need to pay your bills. So kind of the beginning of the end happened for us when the bottom line wasn't looking that good. Granted, if you're making money in a CPG company in the first 3 to 5 years, you're probably doing something wrong. But anyways, the beginning of the end kind of happened when we were at a trade show, and Pepsi, from Minnesota, Wisconsin, saw us and we engaged with them, and they wanted to pick us up. So, in theory, that's one of those deals where you're better off walking away from it. But in reality, it's really tough to turn down, an opportunity like that where the first order is going to be, somewhere between 50 and 100K, and the types of retailers you could land and some of the obstacles that wouldn't, exist if you're with, the 10,000-pound gorilla in the region. So we started to, work with some of these, retailers and large distributors that were outside of New York. And when you're, continue to be undercapitalized, you spread yourself too thin, and you spend a lot of money, and you don't get, the type of results you want really anywhere. So before I knew it, I'm renting a house in Minnesota and staying with interns for 4 days, and I'm off to South Florida to do sampling and training. And
Interns in Minnesota?
Then you're neglecting, your responsibilities in New York. So spreading yourself too thin became a huge issue, and a lesson I would never forget.
How did you have interns in Minnesota?
We had interns in Florida, Minnesota, California, and Philadelphia. And
These are all paid interns?
no,
Or they're college students?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So they're college students that were kind of just trying to get involved in something.
Yeah, so we offered them a real opportunity. We weren't going to hold them back. If they were, passionate about a particular facet of the business, or eager to learn or get exposure, we were going to let them run with it. There was no reason why they couldn't become, with a little bit of, training, like our point person for that
region.
And so it was, kind of baptism by fire. But some of the times it worked, and some of the times it probably backfired.
What was your pitch to them?
Really?
Did you even have Frava out there at the time?
Yeah, so we wouldn't market or sell or run interns any place where we didn't have distribution, just because somebody can't buy the product, be the best product in the world, it doesn't matter. So first we had to make sure that the retail footprint was there, or at least the seeds for it were there, and then we would try to penetrate the market as cheaply as possible, cost effectively as possible. And the best way we found of doing that was brand ambassadors and unpaid interns, people that you could that understood your brand, understood your story, your mission, that became your evangelical supporters.
So I've heard once before, I mean, you're saying it's only the places where you distribute. So just thinking back to a kid in my college, he used to swear by this Ponzi scheme of a hangover drink, and they didn't have any distribution. They sold directly through campus reps who would sell that.
Was it called Cold Blue?
No, what is it called?
I don't know what you're talking about.
But what, like, that seems like such a Ponzi scam, but I'm sure there are different beverages that take that approach, and I always wondered if, like,
Yeah, so that's the only one I've heard of. I'm not going to speak poorly of anybody without knowing them personally. But if I had a son or daughter, I probably wouldn't want them working. It's called, like, I don't remember this one. But
I just wasn't sure if that was like a known
yeah,
business model within beverage industry that you guys kind of like look down on, like, I can't believe that that's approach.
That's probably a solid indicator of
Yeah. So I guess fighting for distribution, how difficult was that? How, especially since there are probably so many brands out there, how do you fight to get those spots that everyone else is fighting for?
So
like, how did you sell that?
We basically just competing for shelf space.
Yeah, so shelf space is different from distribution. Distribution, in like the strictest sense, is what guys have the trucks that are delivering your beverages to a particular retailer. But distribution is the most important thing. Distributors, it's similar to retailers. Everybody wants to be on the leading edge, but nobody wants to be on the bleeding edge. So it's one of those things where nobody needs you until they all need you. Everything's niche until it's not. So with distributors, we had to pitch them similarly to how we pitch retailers. Only we had to, we didn't have maybe the capital that some of these larger, more established brands had, but we would, volunteer to do things that other beverage companies would. I know on a couple of occasions I had, tutored the sons of whether it's drivers or VP of sales kids. We do things like that. Things to just show that we cared and made them invest in us when we couldn't necessarily invest in them financially the way that other beverages could. But things in terms of the competition. Some brands have the leverage where they can get categorical exclusivity, keeping you away from the best distributors. So that was a big problem. And there were certain,
What brands were those? Sorry.
So Pepsi and Coke. Or I guess like the
Any
core
competing
issue. But yeah.
products?
So if we were a caffeinated product, we couldn't be on a truck that carried Red Bull, or if we were fruit juice, there were some companies that had enough leverage that they could keep you off too. So in terms of us trying to start our own category, that was all irrelevant because all they cared about was whether you're caffeine, whether you're juice, kind of thing. So again, a lot of competition for the best distributors. And what you learn is distributors aren't salespeople. They might have sales guys, but they typically spend 99% of the time on their core brands, the brands that you see every day in every store you go
That's
into.
where they make their money.
And that's where their money is. So basically, they'll add your product to their truck just because it's incremental revenue for them, but they're not necessarily going to incubate your brand and give it the attention that you would yourself. So it's all about having boots on the ground in every market you're in, not just seeding the market and making sure the distributors are doing what they're doing, making sure the other distributors that you're not working with aren't screwing you over. There's plenty of times where you find other distributors, whether they're in by mafia or they're just not really good guys, they'd take our products off the shelf, they'd hide them in the back, they'd pay retailers to get rid of our product. So there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, nothing's happening in the back, but all coming back to the fact that you need boots on the ground to make sure that everything's done.
So it's like, as far as saturating like the Metro New York market, I know you said you guys were going to like bodegas and corner stores. Well, were there any other like areas of where you guys reaching out to like street carts, food trucks, even just a guy with a cooler? Like, were there any other like outlets that you guys were seeing?
We didn't go that route, but
You didn't do guy with a cooler?
that
Guy with a cooler would be a good idea.
that's one
skill.
The idea.
Baltimore Bull Plus.
Yeah.
if you can't, bring a spoon to a gunfight kind of thing. So we had to find, markets or channels that weren't as dominated by some of the major players in the energy space. So we looked for places with limited beverage portfolios where we stood a better chance of getting the sell-through that we needed. We landed Just Salad, which is one of New York's fastest growing fast casual chains.
Always eat there. Sad to admit that.
Just Salad's great.
I'm allowed to
Sad guy.
So yeah, again, it was identifying opportunities where we had the ability to stand out, or things like the office channel turned out to be really lucrative for us because people, as you know, in our demographic, they drink a lot of caffeine, and at their offices these days they get it for free. Not only are they drinking one in the morning, one in the afternoon, they're also bringing one home to pregame with later at night. So your velocity is significantly higher, and the amount of spend required to really develop that evangelical repeat customer is much closer to zero. Versus you need to have samplers, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at a place like Just Salad in order to get, the type of the number of impressions and brand awareness that you need to actually have a chance.
Right, like something with more foot traffic than just this guy that comes into his office 9 to 5 Monday through Friday.
Right. So the banks, the startups, I know at LinkedIn for a while they did a pallet a month, so it's 102 cases, so 1,244 bottles, like an office of a couple hundred people, just in the New York office. So we knew it had traction, especially when people were paying for it.
That's the tough part, huh?
That is the tough part, but so much of it is just them being able to find your product on the shelf. So you can get into a great retailer, you've got the largest retailer in the country, but when you're on the top shelf in a less than ideal refrigerator space that's not frequented by your demographic, you're not really setting yourself up for success. And that's one of the key takeaways, is that you need to do everything in your power to set yourself up for success. Again, if the circumstances isn't right, potentially you will walk away from those types of opportunities.
What was your biggest, holy shit, why am I working in a startup moment? What was your biggest holy shit moment while you were there? I mean, obviously things at the end tend to fall apart, but just throw out it, first emotion, oh my god.
So at one point we kind of stolen a van, and we had, and it was rusty,
Allegedly,
and it was really scary on the inside, and it didn't drive well. None of the seatbelts worked, and we had 13 interns in the back seat. We had just done a 4-hour activation for a color run or something like that, and the interns were drinking beer while in the back seat with no seatbelts or seats to speak of.
in a van you didn't know.
In a van that we didn't own, and it almost tipped over. So that was probably
So would you say that with a lot of startup beverages, the way that the culture has kind of changed from, I don't know, obviously it's not really supplying drinks, to now it's pretty much, you can find it in a lot of these startups or very much laid back atmospheres that has kind of opened the doors a little bit for kind of smaller brands to at least get some visibility. For sure. While in the past, it's been, you've really got to hustle to try to even get on the shelf.
for sure. And that is
Brett's downstairs?
Just tell them 11th floor.
Oh, I just have to tell people the 11th floor?
Yeah, the door guy let me know.
Oh, the elevator's locked?
Viewers, feel free to type questions into the chat conversation bar. We will field them as they come in.
so Connor's question. So yeah, well, that is a great opportunity. It's never going to be your bread and butter. Businesses are built or broken at the retail level, but at the same time, that office channel does provide you with the opportunity to reach your target demographic and build brand awareness on a level that you might not be able to in terms of return on investment. At the same time, there's only a handful of distributors that these companies are working with, and if you're unable to land with one of those distributors that supplies, the majority of offices in New York or San Francisco, you probably won't be able to get in just because no office manager wants to make work for themselves by adding new vendors and paying with credit cards or cash, dealing with other delivery guys. So, there's only a handful of distributors that take care of those types of offices. There's only a couple cities that have offices that provide those types of perks to their employees. So what works in New York and San Francisco might not work in Minneapolis or in Buffalo.
But you keep coming back to work for startups.
I do. I think a lot of it is my skills probably are less content driven and as they are structural. And I like the idea of the changing landscape, the autonomy, the ability to just figure stuff out on the fly, and beg for forgiveness rather than ask for permission. It's one of my favorite things, or cliches, and it certainly helps us on a number of levels and kind of fosters a much more enjoyable ethos.
So what's next on the chopping block? What's the next big new venture?
Next big beverage venture?
No, like you, so post Frava game.
Good question. Got to figure that out. Probably having a little bit more structure. Working in the sales role, having somebody I can get some mentorship from. Not have a situation where I'm figuring everything out in the shower, but rather someone I can point in the right direction and I can, ask questions and really learn from. So it was great, learning on the fly and doing all that from 22 to 25. But you can only learn so much on your own. So let's see the situation a little bit more structured. Yeah.
You could definitely relate with that. So.
Hello.
Hey, Brett.
I got sidetracked. What are you doing?
Alex Portin.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, guys.
So what else, man? What else do you want to tell us about this?
I think biggest struggles is probably an important one because if these were lessons ideas I understood, I probably wouldn't have gotten started, or if I did, would have done things very differently. So I think first and foremost, the importance of being sufficiently capitalized. You can make really stupid mistakes when you have too much money, but at the same time, you're not going to get anywhere by bootstrapping. You can only do it for so long. The consumer packaged goods space is incredibly cash intensive. And early on, I had a mentor who started Sobe, and he would rip on me for not having enough money. And he's telling me how screwed I was for months and months and months, and I just brushed it off and told him he was an old man, and whatever. But not understanding that it's fine right now, but 6 months from now, it might not be. 6 months from now, you should be prepared for what's going for a year from now. So not being being sufficiently capitalized, I think, is incredibly important. And doing that, or having that allows you to retain and attract top talent, which I think is one of the most important things at a startup. It shouldn't matter what the person costs if they can really help you and they're hungry and they have that sandpaper. Bring them on and keep them on. I think the ability to say no to certain things. When we couldn't say no to Pepsi, when we didn't say no to Anheuser-Busch, we were setting ourselves up for failure because in our heart of hearts, we probably knew that we couldn't sufficiently support them, like the big boys that they were working with could. But a combination of naivete and just wanting to grow, following our dream, kind of blinded us, I think. When you're undercapitalized, again, it's difficult to delegate, not just when you're a perfectionist, but when you don't have enough resources and you spend half your day sampling or doing things that aren't really going to move the needle, you're so in the trenches that you can't, again, work on the things that are really going to drive business for you. So if you can subscribe to that 80-20 rule, or 80% of the time, focus on the things that really move you, again, you're probably not setting yourself up for success. And then lastly, I think on the investment side, really making sure that you're not just taking money from anywhere, but you're taking money from investors that truly provide intellectual capital, a real value add, and that are setting yourself up for the next round of investment, not just being so short-sighted. So I think those are really important things, because they can prevent you from making some of the mistakes that we and a number of other promising startups have made and continue to make.
I probably missed this, but how long can you give me like just a 2-second synopsis of
Everything we talked about for the last 10
not
minutes.
necessarily everything we talked about for the past 10 minutes, but to the latter point about taking the right money and turning down the right, saying yes to the right people and saying no to the wrong people.
Yeah.
What were the couple of those early decision points? And
So really, when you're going to raise money, like what do people look at? They look at sales. And I'm not talking like sophisticated investors that want to see sell-through. I'm talking about just what are your sales? And when you're a startup and you have 0 sales, obviously you're going to take a less than favorable deal to raise the type of money and bring on the type of infrastructure you need. So when you have 0 sales, you have 0 leverage. So that kind of, I guess was one of the biggest mistakes going into this whole thing was, again, like 60% of the company was in the hands of non-working stakeholders or entities. So that was really a big problem. And then the second half of the question was,
how much capital have you had to raise? You said in CPG it's very capital intensive.
yeah. So in cash we had about $500,000 and $500,000 in kind of ancillary things, back office infrastructure. We could warehouse. We had truck drivers. We had a bunch of things that most startups don't have, at least in the first year. But if you're going to do this right, probably need between $5 and $8 million to really get it going, and that will cover you for the first couple of years of growth, and then you raise your Series A after that.
So, given where you been able to get around the early dilution that you've taken in order to say, all right, I need $5 million.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we weren't. Every time we got to a point, even like the term sheets were exchanged between people that we'd want to work with, they all basically wanted us to cut ties with the existing investors just because they didn't provide the type of value add that they wanted, and kind of just move on and start a new entity. And that wasn't something we felt comfortable doing, just a moral perspective. So because of the nature of how diluted we are and the ability to set up an equity pool for future employees and things like that, that's one of the largest reasons.
The second take, you're like, screw morals, I'm gonna screw up everyone. Might as well. Hey.
Greed is good.
It's corporate. Bottom line is maximize
In
shareholder value, right?
Yeah.
In what year would you estimate that you might reach profitability if you did get 5 or 8 in here right off the bat?
Probably our third or fourth year. If we would have done an inch wide mile deep in New York, I think it looks a lot different. But if we're in Minnesota, if we're in South Florida, if we're in California with Target, and we're in Texas with the largest retailer there, it becomes a lot more cash intensive than it might otherwise have to be. And again, like just a lot of mistakes can get made, and you're not doing yourself any favors by spreading yourself like that before you have either LA or New York fully built out.
Would you ever do beverages again?
I don't have the bandwidth to do it right now, but I don't see any reason why a couple of years from now, if there was a concept that was truly new, exciting, and different, that I wouldn't at least explore. Same with food.
Sure.
But there is a lot of problems with food and beverage. There's a lot of mafia. It's really antiquated, and there's no data. There's your distributors sometimes won't even tell you the accounts that you're in, so you can't even sample at them and make sure that the POS is up or that the bottles are on the shelf, because they're so concerned with you potentially dealing with other distributors or cutting them out somehow. And that's not like necessarily an indictment on what they think of us as people, but it's just the entire industry. So it's really backwards. It's really antiquated. But there's something about it that is like really sexy or romantic, and it is when things are going well. It's really fun.
You can see that being an issue. I mean, I think not being up to speed, at least when I was doing campus taps like sophomore year and going into liquor stores, that was the biggest sell. I remember going to Corky's, and it was obviously the sketchiest liquor store on York Road. And the guys literally thought I was trying to like rip them off, even though we were just trying to provide liquor prices where you can find 30s and pick that up or deliver it.
Yeah.
And they flipped the shit, and the 3 or 4 stores I went to said like that cut out that route immediately.
Yeah.
But it's just like
They're
very
different.
sketchy.
Their business model is selling to 16 and 50-year-old.
Yeah.
We're providing booze for the parking lot.
I probably heard no like over 600 or 700 times. Whether it's deli bodega owners or like large retailers. But going back to the point you made about them saying no or them not understanding, at the end of the day, everybody's pretty much just selling sugar water. And it's been a really long time since something truly new, exciting, and different has come out. So essentially you have to, promise that you're providing incremental revenue to the store, and whether you can do that, and realistically is totally up in the air. But you have to be so confident and do, make so many promises that you'll do whatever it takes to actually make that come true. That's the one way to get things done.
So getting back to like the legal structure of how you guys set up kind of like equity pools and whatnot that you were discussing earlier, like I guess what would kind of like a more ideal or advice towards setting up a structure go like?
Yeah, so
like you guys said, you guys got kind of trapped.
I think you're making sure you're working with people that understand startups. The people that we were working with initially, while they're great people, they never formed a new entity or started something from scratch. And especially in a situation like this where you're going to have a number of equity stakeholders and you're going to raise additional rounds of capital, your A, B, C, whatever.
Yeah.
So working with lawyers that are comfortable in that space, and it wasn't till the the final stages of our company's life cycle that we were seeking out those types of people. So really understanding what you don't know and allowing experts to to coach you in those things. That's not to say you need lawyers for everything. One of my mentors, the guy who started Sobe refers to lawyers as the sales prevention department. So again, like you're better off, there's only a couple questions every year that you might need your lawyers to look at, but some of those real fundamental issues, in terms of forming and growing the company, you should definitely seek out experts.
So you'd kind of say like curiosity killed the cat. I mean, you guys seemed like you put together a great idea, you formulated it, and then you kind of just jumped in bed with one of the first investors that came up, or like was this grad party investor like the one and only? Were there other interests?
That happened before I joined the company. So I joined the
so
company.
you can't really speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, but again, he's a great person and like he's like family. But if he had his infrastructure and you had a couple other guys that provided other benefits, whether it's intellectual or working capital or whatnot, that would have been certainly better. But it's easier to say that as a 25-year-old than it is as a 22-year-old when you're so excited about your product and you have 0 sales. So really getting somebody to cut you a good deal that's really going to provide value is difficult, because at the end of the day, the only thing that you have that's proprietary is your brand.
Right, because at that time you guys didn't really have any kind of sales track record.
Right.
Or
So,
established.
and
anything.
so if somebody could do it on their own, they're going to do it on their own. So because of that, your pool of people crazy enough to invest in you is pretty limited. And it's one of those old adages that beggars can't be choosers, and we were fortunate to have somebody that believed in us and that helped us in the way they did. But hindsight was 2020, probably looking for people with CPG experience, or just at least rounding out. So you have somebody that understands marketing, somebody that understands distribution, somebody that understands sales, somebody that understands how to raise money. And you have those kind of balancing perspectives and complementary skill sets that really set you up for success.
Cool. Anyone else? Any questions? Got one viewer.
What are you doing these days?
So Frava is winding down. Like by the end of the month, it'll be over with, and then just figuring out the right fit, something in sales, whether it's a larger company, like something kind of like Adolescent, or kind of like a startup with over 50, somewhere between like 50 and 250 people. Something between that and a large company where I have some structure, but still have some like autonomy to make some mistakes, I guess.
And then as the company kind of winds down, what is, what's left? Because even as a consumer brand, you said, obviously the brand is what it is. Is there anything that's kind of left over from a value perspective?
Yeah, so we like retain the intellectual property, just like, and the brand identity, but all of our assets, we sold out of all of our inventory. The vehicles can be sold. So I haven't been doing as much in terms of like shutting the business down, but it's really the only thing that the value lies is in the brand, because all your formulas can be reverse engineered. There's nothing proprietary to them. So
The formula is there. Someone can.
So
they get one. They taste it. They can.
We technically own it, but there's nothing core that's preventing somebody with a similar idea and more money than us from approaching, whether it's our flavor scientists or another equally talented one from reverse engineering or recreating something very similar.
Stuff.